For centuries, the name Dechala, the Denied One, has slithered through scholars' tomes and peasants' nightmares alike. Also called the Favoured Concubine, this immortal servant of Slaanesh was once an Aesir princess of Ulthuan, a high elf of noble blood, now twisted into a monstrous champion of chaos. In the northern Chaos Wastes, she leads a depraved host known as the Tormentors, a warband feared as one of the most powerful in the service of the Dark Prince. Her tale is a harrowing saga of beauty and innocence lost to corruption, and of devotion punished by eternal denial. Legends whisper that long ago, in the age when the High Elves still battled the first tides of chaos, there lived a princess of Nagaroth, possessed of unequaled beauty. Dechala was the daughter of Antiralis, a mighty elven lord who had once fought beside Inarion the Defender against the Chaos Hordes. Such was the princess's radiance that it drew the attention of a powerful demon prince of Slaanesh named Samael, who became obsessed with claiming her for her unique beauty. Decala's family fled his gaze, but the demon's pursuit of the princess was unrelenting. He haunted their steps, slaughtering servants and loved ones in horrific ways whenever they refused his demands.
To your masters.
Over time, terror and despair gnawed at Decala's kin. At last, her father, Antiralis, driven to desperation, struck a dark bargain. He gave his daughter over to Samael in exchange for the rest of the family's safety. This act of betrayal by those who should have protected her was the final breaking point of the princess's spirit. In the clutches of the demon prince, Decala's fear and sorrow soon soured into hatred. Rather than merely consume her soul, Samael chose to corrupt his prized captive, wishing to keep her exquisite beauty as his own forever. The princess, bitter at her family's faithlessness, made a dreadful pact. She agreed to become Samael's bride and servant, but only if he granted her the power to take vengeance upon those who had delivered her to this fate. Delighted at the request, the demon prince imbued Dechala with unholy strength and supernatural skill at arms. Thus empowered, the once innocent maiden returned to her family's camp under the cover of darkness. What followed was a night of ultimate betrayal and excess. Dechala took the lives of her kin in their tents, butchering her relatives without mercy and saving her treacherous father for last. It is said she drank deep of the life essence of the fallen, exulting in revenge. In that moment of darkness, the chaos god Slaanesh himself took notice. He was pleased by the depth of her indulgence in the act of vengeance, and marked Dechala as his own. Though bound in marriage to Samael, Dechala soon chafed under any attempt to dominate her. Even as the demon prince reveled in his corrupted bride, He grew jealous that Slaanesh's favor had fallen upon her so strongly. The proud Dechala refused to remain an obedient consort. After tasting the power of chaos and the ecstasy of revenge, she would not be any creature's thrall. She rebelled against her would-be master, demanding equality even from a demon. Ultimately, Dechala fled into the chaos wastes, escaping Samael's grasp and denying him the prize he thought secured. Enraged at her defiance, the demon prince Samael appealed directly to Slaanesh, begging his patron to punish Decala's betrayal. The Dark Prince of Pleasure answered with a cruel bargain that would shape Decala's fate for millennia to come. In hidden and forbidden tomes, it is written what chroniclers recorded as Slaanesh's decree.
If Dechala agrees to return to you of her own volition, then she is yours to do with as you please. But should she choose to remain apart from you, no matter how far Dechala may rise in my favor and grace, she will never ascend to your height of demonhood as long as you yet survive.
Thus was the eternal curse of denial placed upon Dechala. No matter how many souls she delights or depraves in Slaanesh's name, true immortality will be forever out of her reach, so long as Samael still lives. In the infernal hierarchy of chaos, ascension to become a demon princess, the ultimate reward for a champion, is denied to her by this dark condition. This bitter destiny earned her the title, the Denied One. For Decala's soaring ambitions are bound under the yoke of her spurned demon husband's continued existence. And so, filled with resentment, yet never lacking in fervor, Dechala embraced her role as a mortal champion of Slaanesh, vowing to carve out her own pleasures and power in spite of the fate imposed upon her. In the eons since her fall, Dechala has been blessed, or cursed, with hideous mutations that reflect the perverse favor of Slaanesh. Witnesses describe a being of unnatural and terrifying beauty. From the waist up, she still appears as the lithe, alluring elven maiden she once was, but below the hips, her body merges into that of a giant serpent. Gone are her graceful legs. Instead, she trails a powerful, sinuous tail, ending in a multi-headed, scorpion-like stinger that drips a venom of mind-shattering potency. Her skin is pale and smooth as polished ivory, and her once kind eyes have become deep sapphire orbs glowing with an unnerving inner light, promising pain and pleasure in equal measure to any who behold her. Decala's transfiguration has also gifted her an inhuman martial prowess. Sprouting from her shoulders are 3 pairs of arms, 6 limbs that each wield a curved blade or barbed whip with deadly grace. Despite the monstrous alterations, Decala's face retains an echo of her preternatural elven beauty, save for one small, incongruous flaw. Across one cheek is a single, thin scar, a relic of some past duel where a mighty champion of Khorne landed a blow upon her. This lone imperfection is said to enrage Dechala. The very sight of it in her mirror-finish armor fuels a seething hatred for all who serve the blood god. Many a follower of Khorne has been lured to a swift doom by Decala's blades, sacrificed as open demonstrations of her everlasting spite toward Khorne's kind. In battle, Decala's every movement is an ecstatic dance dedicated to Slaanesh. She does not charge into combat with brutish swings, but whirls and pirouettes with otherworldly grace. Her 6 blades sing through the air, swirling in hypnotic patterns that can form an impenetrable wall of steel one moment and slice cleanly through armored limbs the next. Mortal eyes struggle to follow the fluid motions of her dances of death. Even veteran swordmasters find their strikes effortlessly parried and their bodies snared in her snaking coils before they can react. Laughing musically, Dechala delivers death as though it were a performance to delight her patron, dispatching foes in a blur of elegance and brutality. Those who face her often realize too late that her mesmerizing allure is as dangerous as her blades. Men falter in awe or lust at the sight of her swaying form, only to be cut apart while entranced. Perhaps most terrifying of all is the venom that Dechala carries with her, a diabolical concoction known as the ELIXIR of Damnation. The barb of her tail and the edges of her swords are forever wet with this glistening poison. Victims struck by it are racked by hideous mutations and overwhelming sensation. The toxin sends them into paroxysms of agonized ecstasy, a state of helpless rapture in which they are utterly unable to resist as Dechala closes in on her prey. The elixir is said to be brewed from unholy ingredients, a mixture of sacrificial blood, raw warpstone, and the most vile secretions of Slaanesh's obscene rites. To feel even a drop upon the tongue is to be lost to mindless pleasure pain. Thus does Dechala cripple her foes' wills, enslaving them to delirium before delivering the final, merciful slash. Little wonder that those few who survive an encounter with the denied one speak of her in hushed, horrified tones, as a being who can corrupt body and soul with a single tainted kiss of her blade. One anonymous devotee, utterly bewitched by Decala's presence, left behind a chilling description carved into stone. Part love letter, part warning, which captures the terrible allure of the favored concubine.
I write of my love. I write of my mistress. She who is the daughter of pleasure, the sister of delight. Though her arms and neck sparkle with gorgeous jewels, they are dulled and devoid of luster next to the seductive malice that shines from her eyes. Her lips are full, her teeth are like pearls. In her hand she holds a golden chalice, overflowing with the wine of her hatred. She is drunk with the blood of righteous men, and her body sways to the song of lost innocence. And though I long for her embrace, I fear her, for I know that though death stands before me, my lady shall never let me go. Traveler, heed my words. The favored concubine has returned, and she shall claim back all that was denied her.
Since the night of her transformation, Decala's reign of terror has spanned centuries. Unaging and unbowed, she roams the north as a warlord of Slaanesh, gathering damned souls under her banner. In the savage hinterlands of chaos, she founded a warband called the Tormentors, and through fear and allure alike, she became its undisputed mistress. This warband is a horde of slaves and lost ones devoted to her. Mortal warriors, beastmen, and mutants who have succumbed to her will. They are drawn by Dechala by the promise of unfettered indulgence. Indeed, the Denied One preaches a creed of ultimate freedom through chaos. She seeks the casting down of all order and law, desiring a world where every being is released to pursue wanton excess and carnality, as she herself does. Under her leadership, the Tormentors rampage across the frozen wastes and beyond, tearing down any vestiges of civilization they encounter. Each new conquest swells Decala's ranks with fresh prisoners, some enthralled by her intoxicating presence, others broken and forced into servitude by the cruelty of her minions. It is said that Dechala has deliberately led her armies against the followers of the other Chaos gods, not just the hapless civilized folk of the South. The servants of Khorne in particular earn her enmity. More than once she has clashed with the champions of the Blood God in vicious contests of supremacy. One infamous tale claims that in a fit of spite, Dechala led her tormentors in a war against Khorne's legions, if only to spite the god whose champion scarred her face so long ago. Her war standards, said to be woven from the flayed skins of fallen Khornate lords, are gory manifestations of these not-so-known wars. The Denied One's life has become a dance of war unending. To her, each battle feels like a fresh chance to spite her enemies and revel in the glory and horror of battle. Yet, Decala's depredations have not been confined to the shadowy north. In the dark years known as the End Times, when the Chaos Gods made their final assault on the world, her bloody journey carried her far beyond the wastes. Leading a host of Slaaneshi devotees, Dechala swept into the distant lands of Ind, a rich realm that had scarcely known the tread of chaos until then. There she joined forces with Arbol the Undefeated, a fearsome champion of Khorne, in a deadly spiral of destruction. Unlikely allies and bitter rivals at once, the Serpent Demoness and the blood-mad warlord competed to see who could unleash the greater devastation upon Ind cities and temples. By the time the call of duty recalled them, whole kingdoms of Ind had been left as smoking ruins. Survivors' accounts from that ravaged land are scarce, but the horror they describe is unimaginable. One tattered journal speaks of a pale serpent witch dancing amid the flames as thousands perished in ecstasy and agony. A vision that can be none other than Dechala, reveling in the chaos and desolation. In dusty libraries and secret conclaves, Imperial scholars and Elven lore-keepers alike reflect on the tragedy of the lost princess of Nagaryth, who became Slaanesh's mightiest champion and yet remained forever unfulfilled. Her legacy is one of beauty turned to horror, of devotion twisted into damnation. Below is one fragment of testimony from a soldier who survived an encounter with Decala's warband. A rare glimpse of the terror she inspired in the common folk of the old world.
I shall never forget the sound. A chorus of ecstatic laughter as that thing danced through our ranks. She had the torso of a pale maiden, but from her hips coiled the body of a giant snake. 6 blades whirled in her hands, and not a single one of us could land a blow on her in return. Some of my men dropped their weapons, entranced by her unnatural beauty, before she cut them apart. My men, Emperor, forgive us. We never stood a chance.
To pursue the path of excess, as she did, is to dance on the knife's edge between ecstasy and annihilation. The fate of Dechala stands as a dark legend, a warning inscribed in blood and venom for all time. Beware the price of desire, for even the most favored of the Dark Prince's servants can find their dreams eternally denied.